Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our Parent Cafe today. You are in for a tremendous treat. we have who is known as the tribe here. Okay, so I hope you have your lunches. I hope you are settled in at your desk and you are ready to receive some very valuable information. The tribe stands for defeating adversity while transforming regular individuals beyond expectations. We are a collective of creators and entrepreneurs that put kingdom work first and to teach need-based skill sets while renewing people's mindsets. All right, y'all. I hope y'all are ready to be renewed and taught a little something on today. Because today we have Vince Brown, Patrick Page, and Peril Singletary. Here they are.
Great afternoon, great afternoon, great afternoon. My name is Vince Brown.
I'm Patrick Page.
I'm Payroll.
And we are the Tribe. Here at the Tribe. The Tribe stands for defeating adversity
While transforming regular individuals
beyond expectations.
Sheesh, that's fire, that's fire. I know people probably wondering, like, okay, we hear everything, we hear the acronym, it's a cool name, but what is something tangible? Like, what can someone expect as becoming a part of the Tribe?
Man, that's a great question. That's a great question. So when you actually come inside the Tribe's ecosystem and community, one thing that we specialize in is helping people use their mindset to produce need-based skill sets while also creating assets, right? And we do that with understanding these different things when we talk about defeating adversity, right? Which is your mental capacity, it's your mindset. So what is your mindset on, right? And when we talk about skill sets, we talk about things like producing leadership abilities, right? Teaching people how to communicate, teaching people how to package up what they have to take it to that next level, right? So that's really what we do here at the Tribe. We bridge creators and entrepreneurs. So people who may have a skill, right? They might love to draw, they might love to do poetry, they might love just to produce some form of art, right? We teach them how to package that up and bring it to the corporate space, bring it to an entrepreneurial skill set place where you'll be able to use that and be able to maximize it.
That's powerful. That's powerful. That's powerful. And truly, one thing that inspired the Tribe was all of us being individuals, having a vision, having a mission, and realizing that I'm powerful alone, but I'm even powerful as a collective. And what we've been able to truly accomplish as a group has superseded what we've been able to do personally, I would say, within the past 5 years. So it's truly power in having a group of like-minded people around you, because that's a major when it comes down to making sure that you keep your mind in the right place, because of your environment truly dictate who you become. Your environment truly dictate who you become. So I got a question, yo. Like, so what does the Tribe actually mean to you all?
What does the Tribe mean to us? So, me personally, what the Tribe means is being able to surround yourself, like Peril just touched on, being able to truly surround yourself with individuals that, for one, have the same mindset, and we come together in a fashion to where we can all use our different skill sets and our individual experiences to be able to bring those together and collaborate as a unit, because we all know we're more powerful when we're together. And like the word says, when 2 or 3 gather, they say that God is always in the midst. So when you connect 2 or 3 people at minimum and you bring them together and you share a common mission, a common goal, a common value, that allows you to truly, like we always say, collapse time. So how we just touched on being able to collapse time, and in our individual lives, I know for me personally, what it's taken me the last 3 years to do, I've been able to accomplish that with my brothers within the last 3 months. And so we always touch on those principles and always saying, like, just being able to truly come together and that power and that synergy that's there. That's what the Tribe means to me, is building that tribe or building that community or building that village that'll be able to help take your mission, your goals, your values, and be able to push those things out and ultimately collapse time.
Man, that's powerful. That's powerful. Just like my brother just said, right? He talked about synergy. He talked about the word where it says, where 2 or more gathered, there God is, right? So one thing that we believe in is when you move in unity with your community, you can be provided with more opportunities, right? So moving in unity with your community to be provided more opportunities, what does that really mean? So the Tribe, one thing that I would say the Tribe means for me personally is being able to have that support system, but to understand that you can be activated when you have other like-minded individuals around you, right? I always say your environment will change you before you change it. So you want to make sure that your environment is actually cultivating what you're looking for, what you're aspiring towards. So one thing that we figured out was moving in synergy, moving in unity. Like me prior, I used to be in the military, right? And one thing I noticed with the military was that they always had people in formation preparing for war, right? So when you're in formation, you're in an element and you're in a group, it's something about moving in unity that helps you be able to attack and be able to defend the things that come up in life, right? So one thing I realized was when I move with other individuals that have purpose, right, that purposeful positioning, right, it allows you to be able to maximize what you're doing. Like my brother's saying, being able to turn something that would normally take 3 years into 3 months, right? How are you able to do that? Well, you get around other individuals that activate on what they learn. There's a difference between knowledge acquisition and knowledge application, right? People say knowledge is power, but we truly believe that applied knowledge is the real power, right? Because you can be loaded up with all this knowledge, but what are you doing with it? So we're teaching people in the tribe not only to learn, but to implement, right? So we're teaching them to learn, to implement, and to activate, and to do it in unity. So that's one of the most powerful things that we are able to do here at the tribe. Man. So I would say to my brothers too, when people are having different adversity pieces, right? When it comes down to emotional and mental barriers, what would y'all say? What's something right now that can be done to start alleviating some adversity and start pushing through some of those barriers that people may have mentally and emotionally?
It's a great question, bro. I would first and foremost start off with saying, understanding that you don't have to hold all of the weight yourself. When you believe, for me, I believe in God, I believe in Christ. So whenever I am going through things, I first and foremost believe that everything is happening for my good. Everything is happening for me, not to me. And whenever I look at it from that perspective, no matter what happens, I trust that God is going to make the right choices for me so that I can ultimately have that ultimate outcome that will make my life better. But actually something that's tangible as well, what I love to do is whenever I'm going through something that's challenging, is first attempt to put it into perspective. Like, why is this happening? What is actually happening? And then also, what view am I looking at it from? Because most of the time, it's not what you're looking at, it's how you're looking at it. So for me, I take a deep breath, take some deep breaths, allow myself to slow down. And once I slow down, I'm able to put things into a proper perspective. And then with that proper perspective, realize that, even if I don't understand in this moment why it's happening, I know that God is allowing it to happen for a specific reason.
Ooh-wee. That's powerful. So I know for me personally, and bro just touched on one of those. Two of my favorite words is perspective, and the other is paradigm shift. So with that perspective, not to go back over what Pero just covered, but literally just being able to take what is going on in your life and truly viewing it from a different lens. So being able to take a situation that looks like it could be one thing, but trying to see out of that one situation, how many different perspectives can you gain from that one? Instead of looking at it, instead of being inside of the situation and looking at it from the inside out, trying to step from the inside to move to the outside to now look from the outside in. To be able to see, well, with this particular situation, is the situation truly happening to me, or is it only the way that I'm viewing it from my point of view? That, and then also being able to take all of those actions and things. And so something I love to do personally is, I love to journal. I love to reflect on my thoughts and reflect on life situations. So whenever things happen, just allowing myself to be able to reflect and also to be able to gain that different perspective, that different point of view. And so when you combine those two things, when you take a perspective and you match that with a situation, and then you take a tangible item, something like journaling, to be able to reflect on that situation and your thoughts. I like to always talk about paradigm shifting, because what that does is it unlocks another level, or it unlocks another place of thought that you didn't think existed prior to. And so allowing you to go from literally where you are to a place that you never had fathomed, just because you're able to, take your situation and be able to build on it, to reflect and see, well, hey, is it just how I'm looking at this thing, or is this truly what it is? Because there's a difference from what something is versus how we feel about it. And oftentimes how we feel about a certain situation is what allows us to stay inside of the box and keeps us closed-minded, and ultimately doesn't allow us to grow. So yeah, just taking those three things, like perspective, being able to take that perspective and now being able to journal about it and really reflecting on your thoughts so that you can ultimately paradigm shift. I feel that's something tangible that somebody can definitely take away, and just be able to truly like take your situation and not allow your situation to get the best of you. Just truly allowing you to make the best of whatever situation, no matter what it is. So, yeah.
Ooh, my brother. He just said something, man. You hit on two things that I would just say like I really felt, and that one of those things was reflection, right? Reflection will yield you a direction, right? That's something I realized. When you reflect, you will start being directed to where you need to go, and it just reminded me of like when you truly take a second to really just see who am I, right? Like that piece, like that perspective piece comes into play when you start focusing on like truly what you see in the mirror, right? And what you're able to do, your possibilities. One thing I always loved growing up in school was math, right? Learning about possibilities. And then I learned that you are limitless, you are boundless. There's nothing that can stop you, right? And when I talk about, something being impossible, we say it all the time, impossible just means impossible, right? That's all it means. So when I started thinking about that, I'm like, wow, when I truly reflect and I understand that my possibilities are endless, I start to realize that most people, right? Most people, what they do is they overestimate where they are and they underestimate where they can go. I was like, let's switch that. Let's underestimate where we are and let's overestimate where we can go. Because I know that where I am right now, my situation is not my destination, right? My situation is not my destination, but what do we need? We need implementation to change that. So how do I change my situation? By implementing the things that I know that can take me to that next level. Taking regular habits and turning them into wealthy habits, right? Something like journaling, something like actually taking time to reflect and to take deep breaths and to cherish your breath, right? Just waking up this morning is a blessing. To wake up this morning is something that most people, right? We might forget because we do it so often, but just to be able to breathe right now, in this moment, that gratitude, and that's something I would say, that gratitude, it gives you another level of altitude. Your gratitude placement. So that's something I just got from what my brothers were saying, just as far as gratitude, man. But like, what's something right now that's grounding you, right? And gratitude, right? What's grounding you, and what can help ground other people that might be listening into gratitude when we talk about emotional and mental health, and especially in today's culture.
Yeah,
That's good.
man. I would definitely say that most important, what you just said, bro, breath. I feel breath is definitely one of those things that because it's so regular that we don't really understand that without breath, there's no life.
Come on, man.
So really taking the time to breathe. That's why one of the reasons whenever I am in my head with things, I really breathe, because when God breathed life into us, that's when life truly started. So me taking that time to just breathe, I would honestly say if people just really understand how powerful breathing is, how big of a blessing breathing really is. The material things are material things, but you can gain all the things in this world, but if you don't have breath, what is that worth? So really taking that time to be present, be in the moment, allow yourself to say, you know what? I'm grateful for the problems I don't have.
Come on, man. Come on.
I'm grateful for the things that I don't have to deal with. That doesn't mean like, oh, let this person get it or this person get it, but like, what do I have that I can truly say, God, I thank you for it? So for me, every day I wake up, it's a blessing. Every day I can call my grandma, it's a blessing. Every day I can kiss my daughter, it's a blessing. I can call my mom, it's a blessing. Like, that would be honestly selfish of me to wake up every day and to allow yesterday to be a burden to me right now.
Come on.
What am I saying to God? Like, what are my actions ultimately saying to God? So really taking that time to say, you know what, I got breath, I got roof over my head, I got water, I ate last night. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
On,
That's
man.
good.
So yeah, bro, that's a great question. Definitely a
Jeez.
great question.
And to piggyback, bro, to answer your question, it reminds me of like what we do every morning with our 6:45 calls, our
Come on.
accountability calls every morning. Where we truly we build at 6:45 every morning, but how we start off every call, we open up with gratitude for the day. And so what's so powerful is there has not been a day where we haven't had a single thing to be grateful for. And with that, it's so interesting to think of, because it's like, once again, I think about, like I said, my favorite word is perspective. So it's like, even though we may be in the toughest of situations, within those situations, we still always find something to be grateful for,
Come on now.
and we speak on it every single day. And so being able to do that, truly being appreciative, and I know I always start mine off the same, like, I'm grateful that I was able to wake up, I'm grateful for another day, I'm grateful that I have breath, good health, I'm in good health and I'm in the right state of mind and all my limbs are functioning.
Come on.
And honestly, with just those alone, like, that's excluding what's actually going on in life, but by just using those few things alone, that's the framework to where you can now go out and build anything. You could take your day and you can literally go out and build anything.
Yeah.
So I know some people may, sometimes we small minded. So we may say like, well, yeah, I just, I mean, that's all I got. And it's like, well, honestly, looking at it from that perspective, it's like you have more than what some people didn't wake up for real.
No, for real.
Some
Honestly.
people woke up and found out that they can't use their limbs. So it's like being able to be truly grateful for those small things.
Yes.
I feel that truly builds the framework to where you can now go out and build whatever it is that I'm not even going to say that what your mind can fathom, but you can go out and build anything even beyond what your mind can fathom.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, bro.
That's
Wow.
fire, bro.
Man, everything that's settled stays at the bottom. That's one thing I realized. Even when you think about it in physics, anything that settles stays at the bottom. Like, we have to start thinking about, like, how do we prevent ourselves from continuing to settle, right? And one thing that I'm reminded of with the gratitude is that let me live full so I can die empty. Like, living full, what does that look like? That looks, maybe you don't have 100% every day, but if you wake up with 20, 30, 40, 50%, giving all 50, giving all 40, giving all 30, right? Part of your gratitude is not just existing, but living and giving all that you have, right? And my good friend Pero, he always said it, right? My brother always says it. He says, in order for God to download inside of you, you have to unload, right? You have to understand that the weight that you carry is not just for you to carry, right? And it's beautiful because you've been qualified to carry. Like, you are qualified to live. You are qualified to have a purpose. You are qualified to do what you do. You are gifted. You are unique. Like, everything that you have, nobody else in this world can offer. So something that you have right now, we all need.
Talk about it.
We all need it. So what we're talking about now is being empowered and knowing that that gratitude and that foundation will give you everything that you need to get started.
All right, now listen. Y'all done said a mouthful. I'm just gonna start off with this. I love it when black men have something to say. Okay? Because it's so many empty conversations out here that they don't lead to anything. People talk a lot, and people sometimes think because they talk a lot that they're saying things of substance, of purpose. But when you for one, are kingdom led, and you believe in living in your purpose and walking in your purpose and fulfilling your destiny, that draws the attention of people. You get people's ears, you get people's hearts, and you get them focused and zoomed in. And so what I want to know is, how did you all become aware of your purpose? How did you know what your purpose was?
You can go
Man.
first.
Okay, so I'll start. So that's literally the question that we get the most. And so the best way to explain this, we actually met on January 27th of 2023 at a real estate event that none of us were going to attend. But we all made that, I'll say, the sacrifice, and we made the conscious decision to still be in attendance of that event, even without knowing each other prior. Especially in the sense that we are now, but not knowing each other prior. And we literally just showed up with the purpose of networking. But because of that obedience, and that's why we always talk about the importance of showing up, through that obedience, we literally met at that event. We began to conversate and just talk about just really like where we are, what all we have been doing over the last couple of years. And then it was like, at a certain point in time, we're like, oh yeah, there's some synergy here. Like, we're literally all moving in the same direction. We're going on the same path. And like Pat always says, like, we made a decision before we left that particular building is, we said, like, we can't go out of here without an action step to leave out of here and actually move towards next. So we put something tangible on the table and said on this particular day, this is when we're going to actually make that decision to move forward. And it was just a constant building from there.
Okay, that's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome. What about you? Well, how did you step into your purpose? How did you know?
So as far as like my purpose and just, first I had to realize I've always felt something different inside of my gut. Like I always had that feeling. But I would say it happened for me like February 14th, 2011. That's when my father was killed, right? And I think you really find your purpose at the intersection of pain, right? Like my pain birthed my purpose. And I started to realize that in the midst of that, I had to figure out a way, like, am I going to go down this road where I allow it to abuse me and use me, or am I going to use it? The law of use says what you use will strengthen you and what you don't will weaken you. So I was just thinking, like, what am I going to do with this pain? And I just realized at that moment, I'm here to not only continue to rely on God for his healing and just everything that he's blessed me with, but I also got to realize that somebody else gonna need me to not only tell my story, but somebody can learn from my scars, right? Something that, and a lot of people got invisible scars, things that nobody can see but they can feel, right? So I had to realize my purpose came from my pain, and that's something that I'm still like. We all have different storms and pieces of pain that we can learn from, but I would just say that's where my purpose was birthed. And then being able to extend my purpose with my brothers when we met, and to realize that we are mission-led, kingdom-led, and understand that our purpose, they intersect. And that's when I realized that it's not about me.
Right.
And that's when my purpose has been extended.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, K-Ro.
That's powerful. Nah, that's real. Ultimately, for me, I would say I look at purpose in multiple perspectives. Like I see a grand purpose, but then even being here right now is purpose. So looking at every day is purpose. Looking at every movement and every motion is purpose. But one thing that really, there's a couple of childhood events that transpired, but one thing that really made me like, and I love this topic that we chose about mental health and awareness. And I have a brand and it's centered and connected with mental health, because when I was 18, one of my friends actually committed suicide, right? And by reading that letter, I was able to see that wasn't him in the moment.
Right.
But it was the thoughts that he was having. It was how he was feeling, and that built up momentum. So for me, one thing that I love to do is extract the greatness from out of people. Because all of us have greatness, but like the world at times tell us things, and then like our purpose of who we truly are gets buried over those negativity, over those words, over those different things. So for me, a part of my purpose is truly found through motion and moving, because the more that I move, the more that God exposes me to more things.
Right.
The more that my perspective starts to broaden. So every day I'm understanding why God placed me here, but whenever I'm at my brothers, I'm like, it is bigger than me. And every day that we talk, we start to realize our purpose is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because God is realizing that he can trust us with more. So the more that I move, the more that we move as a whole, God is realizing that he can trust us more. So for me, I see purpose as a day-by-day thing, but I also see the grand purpose as well, and that consistently is expanded.
Right. Absolutely. All of that is amazing, because I actually have a brand called Purpose Over Preference. Ooh, and so come on now.
POP.
Yeah, POP.
Like that.
That's why I laugh so hard. Y'all said that, because purpose over preference, and what that stands for is God's purpose for your life. It sees beyond your own preferences that you can ever make for your own life. And so that's why I'm big on purpose and people understanding their purpose and walking in your purpose and walking into everything that he has ordained for you, because like y'all mentioned before, he knew you before. He formed you in your mother's womb. It's just that's why when we all birth different things, and we birth our greatness. But your greatness and everything that you need is already inside of you. It's just you tapping into the right people, the right things, the right energies, the being in the right room before those things can actually come into fruition. And so a lot of the times people look for purpose outside of themselves when it's already been established inside of you. And y'all said something about the knowledge. Y'all been talking a lot about knowledge. And what I have realized with dealing with people, some people have tons of knowledge within inside of them, but actually lack the wisdom on how to on how to give it to somebody else. So you can tell me, I can have a wealth of knowledge inside of me, but if I don't know how to relay that to you appropriately, you may turn me away. You know, you may, the group of people that you have to talk to or minister to, if you don't know how to relay that message in a healthy way, then you can run off a group of people that those were supposed to be your people.
Yeah, wow.
And so how do you get to a place of knowing how to connect to people? Because I think that's a lot of the time some of the issue too. People don't know how to connect to one another anymore. So how have y'all gotten to a place to where you can connect in a healthy manner to people?
I would definitely say being genuinely curious about the person that we're talking to.
That's it.
Who are you? It's not about what I desire, but like, who are you? How can we serve and how can we help you? How can we be of value to you? So to keep it short and sweet, like truly being like curious and not looking to use somebody, but how can we utilize each other for a greater mission? So genuinely being curious, like whenever people come into our circle, we want to know about you. Like, how can we get to know you? How can we be of value to you? And in the midst of that exchange, you know, ultimately now we can move forward. So, yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And all of those things, the accountability. I love the fact that y'all get on the phone or however you connect every day at 6:45, because we all need accountability partners. We need people to hold us accountable, to make sure that, you know, you're doing what you said you was going to do. I know this, you said you was going to the gym yesterday, but then I called you this morning and you're not there. Or, you know, something as simple as, no, don't text me that you went to the gym. I need to see a picture. Because you could be laying in your bed talking about you at the gym. I want to see a picture. Send me a picture, because you need those people to hold you accountable, because sometimes we can slack on ourselves. And then when you have like a brotherhood that y'all have established to be like, okay, well, this is what you said and I'm going to hold you to it. And the fact that y'all meet every day at the same time, that's phenomenal within itself, because a lot of people they do things and they do it out of sync, they do it out of order. And they think like this analogy here. People think if they hit a tree 1,000 times, but they're hitting it in 1,000 different places, is the tree really going to fall? But if you hit that tree at the same place 1,000 times, then it's going to eventually fall. So you can't do something, you're doing it a lot of times, but you're all over the place doing it. So when you be very consistent and do it how you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, it will eventually come to pass. And what I realize is that a lot of the times people give up right before the breakthrough comes.
That's it.
They give up right before the breakthrough comes.
That's it.
Right before. And then you understand it, because how life works, when you get closer to your mission and your destiny, that's when everything starts to act crazy and it seems like it's not going to happen. But the skill is to press forward. And like all of this, I've gleaned all of this from what you're saying, from what y'all have been saying. You just got to keep pressing forward. Like you got to keep going. Like no matter when it gets, the crazier it gets, the closer you're getting to what is coming, what is supposed to be coming to you. So again, staying on purpose, staying within your destiny, knowing who you are and whose you are to get you to that next phase of life. And so how do you all pull your people in? Like, do you host groups? Because I feel like the tribe, what y'all have created, it has to be centered, community centered. It has to be, because we need more men, period, but we need more of our brown men being in the center of our community, being the pillars, talking with this type of information, giving out this type of knowledge and this type of wisdom, and pulling in our kids and pulling in other men to sit down at a table and talk. Journaling. You don't hear a lot of men talking about their journaling, but that is one effective way for one to get your thoughts out. That's an effective way to go through your self-healing. That is a way to go through life. And so how do you get your people? How can people come to you all to get this type of knowledge, this information, this type of synergy that y'all have going on? How can they come to you?
Yeah. So one thing that we do is we actually have Mastermind Mondays, right? And Mastermind Mondays is just not about business, right? It's also about taking your mental, your physical, your spiritual, your emotional to that next level. So we don't just mastermind about what's your business idea. Like this last Monday, we talked about mental wellness and what are you doing to actually make sure that you're in a place of not only wellness, but in a place of security and within yourself. Like, what are you doing to secure yourself? So we talked about journaling. We talked about meditation practices. We talked about prayer. We talked about what are you relying on, right? So we have our Mastermind Mondays. We also have Bible study on Wednesdays, right? So we bring, and it's virtual, so anybody can come to our Bible studies, right? Because we believe spiritual wellness, like when you're right spiritually, everything else is in alignment, right? So we make sure that we meet on Mondays, we meet on Wednesdays, and we also have monthly events that we do. Now, these are like community events that are skill set based, right? Where we're teaching on mindset and teaching how to build assets, right? And these type of trainings we invite out. We normally advertise it on our Instagram, Only the Tribe. And these are events that we're looking to actually start traveling with them as well. So we're doing monthly events, but we look at the tribe as a global impact, right? Because we already know that we're going on tour. We got actually some things coming up in South Africa, right? We have things coming up north in New Jersey and Florida, right? So we look at this as a movement, not just in Augusta, right? But it's something that everybody can be a part of. Everybody can be a part of the tribe. So if people are interested, yeah, we would love to have them out on the Mastermind Mondays. We would love to be able to have them out on our Bible study on Wednesdays. So Bible study normally starts at 8:45, and on Mondays we start around 6:30, and that's normally here at the Georgia Cyber Center. So, and that's also something that we'll have being virtual pretty soon here as well. But we like to definitely bring fellowship together as much as possible. So those are just a few things, but we even have different events that are coming up. Like we have a Juneteenth event, coming up this week, actually tomorrow. And it's just a lot of different things we put together that we know that the community can benefit from.
Okay. All right. And so I know this is one of the things that a lot of people are going to ask eventually. Do you all mentor younger kids, younger males? Do y'all mentor them?
100%.
What are the ages in which you all mentor?
I would say we haven't really solidified like a specific age, but one philosophy that we live by is succession. So we garden as well, and one thing with gardening, you plant a seed, let's just say on this week, 2 weeks later you want to plant some more seeds, so whenever those seeds produce, you have something coming up after you. And we have mentors that are doing the same thing with us. They're trusting us with their legacy. So as we're being poured into, our goal is to also pour into as well, because we know that the youth is the future. That next generation. I believe in this. If I see something that I consider to be a problem and I don't bring the solution, then I'm a part of the problem.
Right.
So with us, we definitely mentor the youth. We definitely mentor the youth.
All right, because I know that's coming. That's gonna come.
We're
gonna get emails. We're gonna get emails flooded about that. So just to reiterate, on Mondays y'all do Mastermind Mondays, and that is held where?
At the Georgia Cyber Center.
At the Georgia Cyber Center at what time?
It starts at 6:30.
6:30. And is there any special registration beforehand or anything that people need? So
we will have an Eventbrite link that they can sign up. So when they go to our actual tribe page, they'll be able to get that link.
Okay, and what's your tribe's page?
It's only DA Tribe on Instagram. Only DA Tribe. Only the tribe.
Okay, only DA Tribe on Instagram.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then you said you have an event coming up tomorrow, a Juneteenth event?
Yes.
Okay, and where can they find that information on the Instagram as well?
Yes, so we'll have it posted up there. We'll have the flyer posted, and we'll make sure all the information is all on there as far as address, and it will be a 2-day event. So most activities will be on Saturday, but it does start tomorrow.
Okay, awesome. And do y'all have an email address that you have an email address that, if people want to reach out to you and connect and have you come to this? So do y'all do event appearances?
We absolutely do.
Okay.
We are looking for more events. So if people want us to come out to their events, their conferences, their schools, we're definitely looking to get into the school systems, colleges, universities. We will travel. If we know other people in different states, we would love to come out and speak and be a part of it.
Okay, well that is awesome. Y'all listen, I have thoroughly enjoyed y'all being here today, listening and gleaning from everything each one of you have had to say. I feel like y'all are making a very huge impact. I know you said y'all are global, but y'all are definitely making an impact in Augusta and Richmond County, and y'all are needed. I don't know if you, I'm pretty sure you do know, but just in case you do know it, or sometimes you know that little piece of self-doubt creeps in, y'all are needed.
Wow.
Y'all are needed. Every gift and everything that each one of you have is needed in this community, in this world. So keep thriving, keep going, keep glowing, keep walking in his purpose and his destiny. Keep doing the things that he has already ordained for you to do, because as y'all have already know, you already know it's already placed inside of you. It just has to be tapped into. And so again, thank y'all so much for coming out and being a part of Parent Cafe. Anytime y'all want to come back, just make sure you reach out and we can have you on the show.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so thank you all for tuning in today. Continue to have a great day. I hope we didn't take up too much of your lunch break, but continue to be blessed. And we will see you next month at the Parent Cafe.